Well, thank you, Madam President. Let's get this over with. It's been weighing on me for several weeks, and I get a little emotional with these things. And so just bear with me, if you will. I'll get through it. I need to spice up my coffee here a little bit, ease my nerves a little bit. But thanks for whoever put that nice resolution together about me. It dawned on me the other day that all of us in this chamber get two resolutions presented to us about our time here in the Senate. Obviously this one and then our memorial resolution. And what's nice about this one is you actually get to speak after it's presented to you. That's nice. But what an honor, privilege, and true blessing it's been to serve in this chamber with all of you. I feel very fortunate and undeserving to have been able to serve in the legislature for 14 years. And like all of you, I came here every day to make the most of it. You are all top-notch people, cream of the crop, talented, caring, just outstanding individuals. And you have all inspired me to be a better person. So my family is my top priority, my pride and my joy. I've always gone out of my way to protect them and insulate them from the difficult parts of this business. They have supported me in every step of the way. My wife, Sarah, who is here behind me, and our daughters, Jane and Claire, have enriched my life beyond what words can describe. Of course, the girls have ideas of what I should be when I'm done being a senator. Jane wants me to work at the zoo so we can get free passes and behind-the-scenes tours. And Claire wants me to be a substitute teacher so I can sub in her classroom. Well, most likely, neither of those things will happen, but I will still take them to the zoo and I'll volunteer in their classrooms. I want to thank the residents of the 29th Senate District for putting their trust in me to represent their views in Lansing. Kent County is a great place to live. Although I came from the rural part of the county, I was so proud to represent the booming and thriving city of Grand Rapids, all 200,000 people strong, our state's second largest city. Politics was not part of my life growing up at all. My first job after graduating from Michigan State was for then Senate Majority Leader Dick Postumus. I started as his district representative in Kent County over 20 years ago. He was my first real boss, a great role model for me as a 22-year-old college graduate ready to get out in the real world. It is under him where I cut my teeth in politics. I would have never guessed in a million years that 5 Senate Majority Leaders later, I'd be a member of this body, and this Majority Leader would appoint me as chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee. Thank you, Senate Majority Leader Arlen Meekhoff, for believing in me to chair this important committee. It has been the pinnacle, the capstone of my time in the legislature. Thank you for your friendship and your bold leadership. Senator Mike Kowal, thank you for your leadership in this chamber as well. I think we all take for granted all the work you do standing at that podium to make the various motions and maneuvers to get legislation through the chamber. Appropriations has been my life here at the Capitol over the last 4 years, and I want to thank the other 16 members of the Appropriations Committee. I know I wasn't the obvious choice for the job, but I listened to you, and I made your priorities my own. And from there, we developed a strong bond and accomplished great things as a team. I just want to mention a few things about some of the members. My Vice Chair, Senator Pete McGregor, what a great guy. Hard worker, great leader. You'll make a great majority floor leader as well. And I got a couple more things to say about you later on. Senator Tani Shootmaker, another outstanding leader, great advocate for higher education. Some days she was like my work wife, but more often like a sister to me. A younger sister, of course. Senator Darwin Boer, by far the most prepared senator in this chamber. I sit by him in our caucus room back there, and I've always been so impressed by how much time he takes reading over bills and amendments and getting prepared for each day. But if you ask me for one more capital outlay project, I am going to jump out that window. Just kidding. You're a great guy and a great friend, and I enjoyed our friendship. Senator John Prose, what a great public servant for Southwest Michigan. True role model for us all. Man, you sure put the Michigan Department of Corrections through the ringer over the years. I sure hope you don't find yourself in prison someday. That could get real ugly. Senator Mike Green, I think you were always a little surprised how much I'd care about agriculture and Michigan's great outdoors in the budget process, but I really enjoyed teaming up with you and prioritizing these areas in the state budget. Senator Jeff Hansen, what a great leader for public education, and I always admired how you worked in a bipartisan fashion. You're a great public servant, and you've been a great friend to me. Senator Mike Knopf, such a talented legislator. He could take the most difficult of issues and navigate a solution that you recovered politically and you felt comfortable to support in the end. And I've always been so impressed by that. I've learned a lot watching you work, and I've also enjoyed working with you in the budget process to make sure that our public safety officers and our veterans are a top priority. Senator Mike Shirkey, the first time I had a kind of a real conversation with Senator Shirkey was regarding the Medicaid expansion, or Healthy Michigan, back in 2012. Although I couldn't get on board with you on that one, you certainly made a great case, and it was very difficult for me. And we were able to align on many other big issues facing the state. I've learned a lot from you, watching you work, and you'll do very well leading this chamber in the coming years. Senator Jim Stamas, such an easygoing man, always a gentleman. Pleasure to work with. Another excellent leader who will take the reins of the Senate Appropriations Committee with ease. Senator Jim Marlowe, thanks for your leadership in public health policy and public health funding over the years. We have a long history. Back when we were freshmen, you and I co-chaired the House Republican Campaign Committee as freshman state reps, and how little did we knew back then. Senator Marty Nolenberg, I've always enjoyed our impromptu conversations. In fact, you stopped by my office just a little bit ago to chat, and we talked a little bit about everything. You have a bright future with lots of opportunities in front of you. We have 5 Democrats on the committee. It took me a couple years to find them stuffed way over there in the corner of the chamber, but I really enjoyed working with them. My Minority Vice Chair, Vincent Gregory, was always a pleasure to work with and respected our differences. Then there was Senator Hopgood. You know, the guy hardly says anything, but it took him 10 minutes to explain each and every amendment he brought up before the Appropriations Committee. And then Senators Hertel and Knizek, 2 proud Democrats that I respect. Those 2 guys were over there on their phones during committee a lot, just waiting for me to let my guard down so they could pounce. Well, we were able to work together on some great things, and I enjoyed serving with both of them. Last but not least, Senator Coleman Young, who's been mentioned in a lot of speeches on this floor, and I quickly figured out that I could answer every question Senator Young had in committee before he even asked it. It goes like this. No, Senator Young, this bill does not take away money from the city of Detroit. But he did represent his district very well. Through the budget process, I had the honor to work with 2 House Appropriations chairs, former Representative Al Pasholka and current Representative Laura Cox, as well as 3 out of the 4 of the governor's budget directors, John Roberts, Al Pasholka in that role, and John Walsh. We put in many long hours putting the budgets together, but we always respected each other and found ways to resolve our differences. Like all of you, I've had outstanding staff, and I want to mention a few of them. There's some in the gallery, but there are 4 that really stood out because they were all great. Like many of you mentioned in your speeches, I've interns and employees, but there were 4 that not only were great here in Lansing, but also were instrumental in my campaigns. They were the ones who got me here and the ones that got me reelected. So first, Jen Detloff, she worked for me on the first day I took office in the House. She worked in my Senate through most of my first term in my Senate. She's done a lot of great roles here. She did everything in the office, including managing my Senate campaign, which turned out to be the most competitive and most expensive in 2010. You can't find a harder working, loyal, more dedicated employee than Jen, and I'll always be grateful. Then there's Carrie DeBano, also worked for me both in the House and Senate. She was from the district and handled many things in the office. Another very dedicated, loyal employee that played key roles in my campaign and did so much for me in the office. Adam Erber, he's our Grand Rapids guy. He was a later addition to the team, but what a great guy. One of those employees who'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. And then, of course, Fred Shibley, man behind me. Pretty much everybody knows Fred. We both grew up farm boys, and I think that bonded us, and it's another. You know, you have a good chief of staff when other senators mention your chief of staff in their farewell speeches. He really knows how to work this legislative process, but I think even more important, he knows the people that makes this system work. You've been faithful, a hardworking, dedicated employee, Fred, and I'll always be very grateful. There's so many other staff members I could mention, you know, that do so much behind the scenes. You know, Senate Fiscal Agency Director Ellen Jeffries, I know she's over there, and Steve Angelotti, Catherine Summers, and so many. I could name everybody over at the Senate Fiscal Agency that I've worked so closely with. Our other budget team, you know, Tom Davis and Nikki Brown. So many other staff. A lot of them are around here. Craig Ryan and Matt Sweeney, Dave Biswad, Scott Jones, the committee clerk, the lead committee clerk in the Senate, who is committee clerk for Senate Appropriations Committee, Jen Merchant, Scott Hughes, Amber McCann, Terry Marquardt, and Adam Stacy, who had key roles to play in my campaigns. All very dedicated behind-the-scenes workers that I'm just so grateful for. So I know many of you know I've done quite a bit of traveling as a legislator. I enjoy getting out and seeing the countryside. And we still have a couple weeks left if anybody still wants to learn more about the Electoral College and the national popular vote. Still time. Speaking of traveling, when I first got elected to the House, I heard of this guy, Senator Joe Hume, AKA Junket Joe. He was a known traveler. The guy knew how to get plugged in on some great legislative conferences. Well, I quickly got connected with him. He taught me the ropes, and man, it's been a great ride. I have two great legislative travel partners I wanted to mention. First, Senator Phil Pavlo. This guy is hilarious. I mean, we feed off each other, and I've never laughed so hard in my life at times. Some of his one-liners are the best. And at great risk, I'm actually going to share one of them with you. And you guys and gals may not think this is funny at all. But I gotta tell you. So Phil was learning how to operate a road grader, and he was getting help by a guy. And there's, you know, road grader is one of the older kinds with all kinds of levers in front of him. So he's trying to figure out it wasn't going well. And the guy gave him some advice, and he said, Phil, if you don't know what lever A does, lever B. If you don't know what lever A does, lever B. But the best thing about that line is you can use it in so many different, I use it like once a month. You know, like when the board freezes up and, you know, something goes haywire here, you know, we say, Jeff Cobb, if you don't know what lever A does, lever B. But what a great guy, Senator Pavlo. We've got so many great memories, and I'll cherish them for the rest of my life. My other travel partner is Senator Pete McGregor. So when I first met Pete McGregor, I didn't think the guy was all there, you know? But what a guy that is full of life, and he certainly does grow on you. Our districts border each other in Kent County, and we have spent a lot of time together hunting, fishing, traveling, just goofing off. And I hope that some of our traditions continue in the future. Just a couple more. I know I'm getting long. Senator Jack Brandenburg. So Jack Brandenburg's a prankster, and he pulled one over me, and he may not remember this. He pulled one over on me in one of my first months in the State House. So I'd gone to a concert with a bunch of legislators after session on a Thursday night, and we hit it pretty hard, got late. And the next day on Friday, I was at home and my phone rings. To this day, I don't even know why I answered it. But I said hello, and the voice on the other end said, "Hey, this is a reporter from Lansing. I heard you were at a concert last night with a bunch of lobbyists. Can you confirm that? I want to write a story about that." And as a brand new state rep, I completely froze. I was so nervous. I was sweating. I didn't know what to say. And he had me going for about a good minute or two, and then he let me down and let me know, "Hey, it's Jack. I'm just pulling one over on you." But he really got me that day, and I've appreciated your friendship over the years as well, Jack. All right, I'm wrapping up here. I've got so many great memories about hunting and fishing with so many of you. I can't get into them. Our times out on Lake Michigan, out of Frankfort and Manistee and Pentwater and Muskegon, all along the western shore of Michigan. So many great memories that I'll cherish for my life. Senator Robertson, Dave Robertson, his excitability in caucus. I mean, you can literally see this guy's blood pressure go up every sentence, you know, like a teapot, and then the whistle comes out, and he's just so fired up. I've appreciated Senator Jim Ananich's leadership and friendship. We were able to partner to support his community going through some very difficult times. And I've enjoyed that friendship as well. And I've enjoyed my bipartisan legislative dinners at Ukai Steakhouse with Senator Warren as well. I hope that tradition continues. One of the things that always amazed me about this place is that the amount of energy that is in this town when we are in session. All the people that make this place come to life, you know, our personal staff, the Secretary of the Senate, session staff, Service Bureau, the sergeants, the fiscal agency, central staff, the business office, lobbying, government affairs, rallies, protests, committee meetings, events on the Capitol lawn. It just always amazed me when I would show up on Tuesday and be here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The amount of energy. It's electric, and you can feel it. And it is so noticeable when you come into this town on a non-session day. It is just really kind of eerie how quiet it is. So I'm stealing another line from Senator Pavlo in my conclusion that he used in his farewell speech. I too feel as fulfilled leaving the Senate and the legislature as I did when I entered it about what the future has in store. Thanks again for all the friendships and memories, and I'm sure I'll see many of you again down the road. Take care and God bless.